and grow your business. And not just for 3 years, 5 years, but for the long term. In fact, later we see like trademarks. Okay, trademarks is actually things that IP for your brand logo. So these trademarks have been around for a few hundred years. So it can be basically yours forever, this intellectual property, as long as you protect. Of course, one famous, moving out all this, but one famous intellectual property is Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola formula is a trade secret that has lasted over years, and yeah, so, will last forever, and there's very big value. Later I'll show a chart where brands that have protected trademarks, their logos, their brand name and logos, their value is also very high. Okay, but basically, if you protect your IP, then you can actually monetize it, commercialize it. If you don't protect it, you may lose that rights. Okay, later I'll explain more. Okay, so this is just latest investment banking, so we will look at S&P. Okay, so this chart just really show that IP, the value of IP in the business is growing and growing. And the best thing about the intangible assets or IP is that you can use it in Singapore, you can use it at China at the same time. But if it was just a factory, you have to do two factories instead of one factory. But here in Singapore, your trademarks, you license it in Singapore, you can license it in China, license it in South Asia and United States, and it's all over the world at the same time. Okay, so but the value is going up, you can see. So much shows that intangible assets, tangible assets like factories are become less and less important. And then there are some other markets, like China. Okay, actually over the years it went down, but it's coming up again. Okay, and then this is Japan. So it was very high, but then it went up again. But of course, Japan has its own industry issues and problems. And then this is Korean. Okay, but you can see it's generally uptrend. And of course, there's not earlier chart. The United States is still, despite China's competition, the United States is still the place where a lot of IP intellectual property is developed and created. Okay, and just some key observations you see from the charts is that, of course, I say the improving use of intangible assets, IP, intellectual property for the business, and of course now there are new opportunities, and AI has actually allowed people to actually create more and more services and products. And I don't mind sharing, even in FT Consulting, we are actually using AI in the way we develop operations manual documents for our clients, save the time and save time cost for our clients as well. So where areas of work where it can be mainly more day-to-day operations, then using AI actually makes a lot of sense. Like even normal customer service. Okay, and of course the fact that actually globalization is driving the use of intellectual property. Okay, because I think you have heard, I think yesterday news of me that governments are encouraging more and more Singaporeans want to go overseas. And in fact, there are a lot of grant schemes within the industry that actually literally give you money to do business overseas. As simple as the trademark registration. You want to register a trademark in Indonesia, there's this grant called market rate MRA market grant. So save you up to 50%. So having also interacted with my Indonesian colleagues and Vietnamese colleagues, Singapore is still one of the places where actually the government pay you money to do business overseas. Unfortunately, it's the other way around. Okay, anyway, let's move on. Okay, now this is a very important slide. If you can't remember, you want to take picture, it's okay. Later, those who want to slide, you can ask me. I'll send you a sanitized version. Okay. But anyway, these are the types of IP. Okay, there are many more. A few, I won't say many, a few more, but these are the generally the most important for any business. First, okay, and there's two categories as I mentioned. One needs registration, one does not need registration. So starting with most important is the trademarks. So brand name, Apple is a famous brand name. Their products also are trademarked, like iPhone, iPad. Okay, and the trademarks can be your name, can be your logo, or sometimes you combine it together. Okay, there are a lot of technicalities I will be able to cover in this talk, but I'll just give enough to understand. So that's trademarks. The next is patents. Patents are essentially inventions. So it could be even handphone technologies, computer technologies. All these are inventions. You know the GPS system, global positioning system, was 20, 30 years old, was a patent. Okay, and then of course your drugs. Okay, but patents can also be your production manufacturing process. Okay, so one of my clients actually produces polymers, plastics for use in refrigerator and car seats. To cut a long story short, with their patent, they can actually use less plastic, use less raw materials to produce the same amount of plastics. And they are one of the biggest in Singapore. Actually, Singapore has some of the companies in Singapore are the biggest in the world, but not many people know about it. Okay, and then designs. Okay, designs have to do with the outward appearance. Let me just show you this water bottle. So nothing functional is outward. So maybe the way they design the roofs, that exterior can be protected. Or one of the most famous registered design, or simply called design, is your Croc shoes. Who wear Croc shoes? But you go to the hospital, everyone is wearing Croc shoes. Yeah, let's function easier. Okay. Actually, my wife used to work for Crocs. Well, I tell you, they really earn a lot of money from that. You know that my wife gets 50-60% discount from the shoes. And the cost is actually 10%, but people is paying for the brand name and the design. That's why there's value in the brand, in the IP. Okay, so anyway, design. So registration is not required. Okay, copyrights. Okay, copyright simply original. Okay, we just read it off the screen. Original literary or artistic expression. So your books, your films, your music, your photo, even software codes. Software, those into software can be protected under copyright codes and patents if it's a software that is quite that's new and inventive. Okay, your operations manual, marketing, training materials, yeah. So, okay, and I ask you a simple question. Do you know why copyrights do not, you actually officially, you don't need to register? Okay, simple reason. There's too much copyrighted materials. Imagine everyone submit their websites to be registered a website, and then the intellectual property office has to examine everything. There's not enough time. So anyway, to cut a long story short, again, my favorite phrase, all the countries have signed a treaty where they recognize each other's copyrighted materials. That's long, once you create it, you document the date, start date, then that can be approved for you. Now, just to say, some countries practice voluntary registration. Okay. Voluntary is good in the sense that you register, at least there's a proper record, but it's not a must. If you don't register, doesn't mean you don't enjoy copyright protection. Okay? And then the last, of course, trade secrets and confidential information. And simply because they are trade secrets, confidential information, you don't reveal to third parties, other people, it's called a trade secret. And it can be yours as forever, as long as it remains confidential. Maybe I just at this point say that for trade secrets, you really need to share trade secrets or confidential information. Always sign an NDA, a long disclosure, before you disclose anything. Okay, so trade secrets. Alright, later I'll quick go into each one. Okay, so this is a diagrammatic presentation that is one piece of equipment. Nokia, I use Nokia, so anyway, I won't be accused of any copyright infringement. And Nokia not so important anymore. Anyway, but Nokia still has a lot of patents in mapping, and they actually still earn a lot of money. And of course, in the back end, Nokia still. Yeah, I used to work for Singtel, so yeah, everyone was owning a Nokia phone at one point in time. But then, who put an end to Nokia? Who destroyed Nokia? iPhone. Yes. And then of course Samsung come in with one drug. Okay, by anyway, you can see all the different types. Okay, just a handful. Okay, more down practical experience. You see, okay, this happened to be one of our clients. We did some branding for them. So 3 legs, you also yeah. So inside that actually there are multiple type of intellectual property. Okay, maybe can someone name one type? Okay.
Trademark.
Trademark. There's trademark lah. And then inside there recipe. So what do you think? What kind of IP is that?
Trade secret.
Trade secret. Trade secret. Yes. Yeah. So this can be a trade secret. Like another client, Yakun, the kaya inside the ingredients are trade secret. Yeah. Coca-Cola is actually 50% cocoa and 50% sugar. I'm lying. I also don't know. I don't know. It's a trade secret. Okay. Anyway, you see. Something can have actually multiple. Just one bottle has multiple. In fact, this design, it can be trademark if it's unique, and also protected under copyright. But trademarks is more important because trademarks, as long as renewed every 10 years, is yours forever. but copyrights essentially are usually typically maybe up to 70 years after the death of the author, the copyrights, your copyrights expire. Okay. So anyway, so just to show you that all this value, this brand valuation, yeah, it's very billions of dollars. If you actually protect your brand name through registering the trademark, it is very, very, very valuable. Then of course, some of the oldest trademarks, for interest of time, just press down. So this is actually in Hong Kong, quite famous in Hong Kong. And then of course, some of you may be wearing Levi jeans, I'm not too sure. Okay. But Levi jeans is around trademark. So basically, register, renew every 10 years. Yeah. And then, okay, just to let you know, let's say you want to do franchising. Like in certain countries like Indonesia, you want to sell an e-commerce website to address the Indonesian market. And then you have a trademark for your name, your brand name for your e-commerce website. You need to register that trademark in Indonesia before you can start franchising there. So that's a requirement. So and trademark registration in Singapore is quite fast. Singapore is very efficient. It may take 6 to 9 months, but overseas can take 1 to 2 years. So one of the questions some people may ask: when do I do my trademark registration? Now, today, yesterday. Yeah. Especially and if you have plans to go to other countries, then start registering. And the good news, we have the MRA to give you a grant. Okay. And the criteria is very, very easy. The criteria mainly is that it must be a new country. A new country does mean you have not generated more than $100,000 sales revenue for the past 3 years. Okay, that's so in trademarks, you have 10 years. Okay, just I won't go through everything. Just to let you know that and renew, you register, then you renew every 10 years, and renewal is only a few $100. Okay. Okay, and some technicalities. I think I spent a little bit more time because this is something that's relevant to everyone. Almost everyone will have a trademark somehow. Okay, and you need to register your trademark in the right class of goods or services. So class of goods is 1 to 34, 35 is services. So yours e-commerce website, I think it's class 35, the commerce background, e-commerce website. And then of course you sell products, depending on what products. And this are some examples. The famous education will be here, those who train, and then F&B. Yeah. So Starbucks, they produce the coffee, so you register the coffee here because they sell the coffee also, but they also will register they have Starbucks all over the world. Okay, so yeah. This tells you actually trademark registration can be expensive. So if imagine you want to trademark Starbucks, want to trademark one class in service, one class in products, and then one trademark in 5 countries would be 5 times 2, 10 times. 5 times 2 is 10 times the cost. Yeah, but of course they can afford to. So which means that you have to be very, very, very selective and prioritize the countries that you want to trademark in. And sometimes just a quick answer the question where I say, should I register my trademark if I do both goods and services and I have a budget limit? My quick answer is that go for the class that generates the most revenue. So if you generate most of your revenue from the F&B outlet, then you register here, not here. But if you sell your products mainly to maybe supermarkets or e-commerce, then you register this one. Okay, anyway, moving on. Okay, so this is just the process. Usually when you apply, you will check whether it is registerable. So it must be something that's distinctive. And then you search, and then and these principles apply to most type of intellectual property registration. They will check whether it meets the criteria for registration. Then you search their database whether there's something similar. If not, then you'll publicize, and that's very important. Even for patents and design, you'll publicize. And usually that takes about 2 to 3 months. They will so that people can oppose. And I tell you, there are people, especially companies, who are always looking out for checking the databases to see whether somebody is trying to apply something that's similar to them, and you take action to stop you. Okay, so okay, I won't go through this. Just to tell you that actually there's a process for you to apply for multiple countries. So instead of going one at a time, you can actually apply to Singapore. Singapore is the one of the office, and then apply to multiple countries. Again, to say the word, cut long story short, it saves you some administration and time cost. But ultimate approval is still by the respective intellectual property office. Okay, moving on. Okay, so this is an interesting case study. Okay, so now China, okay. And this is a case study. Even the Chinese, Chinese copy like to copy people, right? But this is a case where they get copied. But do you know which one is the real one?
Right side.
Right side. You say that one. 右边 ，okay. 左边或右边，给谁说右边？两个，谁说左边？the rest all center.
Oh, sorry. Right.
It's center, no? Okay lah. Answer is the left hand side.
That's correct.
Yeah. Sometimes I also forget. So yes, 这是对的答案。Okay. Yeah. But this is the Thailand copycat. Yeah. Okay. To cut long story short, okay, it is really important. Actually, what happened? Luckin started, but Thailand, Luckin, some very smart individual in Thailand realized that wow, this one very good brand. I play a bit punk. I just twist it around, change the site, and then I register it because there's an important in principle in IP registration that applies to most countries is first come first serve. So even you have used it, but you never register, too bad. And there are people who are actually always looking at Singapore and copying and then register. There are strategies to take it back, but essentially you have to appeal and then it takes time, of course. But anyway, moving on very fast. So anyway, okay, going to cut the long story short. Okay, basically for a period of time, they couldn't. In fact, the jury, the judgment went against Luckin Singapore, Luckin China, okay, because they say Thailand was the first to file. Okay, so anyway, I won't go through that. So they try to appeal, cannot. So in fact, some boy steal my brand, and I still have to pay damages to the person who stole my brand for taking the court. Such thing. Yeah. But voila, in 2025 this year, suddenly Thailand has a change of heart. Maybe China decided to send some free military goods or
some pressure,
I don't know. So no, okay. So actually Thai party is being basically a naughty boy. So naughty boy get punished. So the favor went back to now the judgment is in favor of the China company, and the Thai company has to pay compensation. But what does it tell you? If Luckin China, knowing that once you recognize your brand is quite popular, I think you better start registering in some of the other countries. If they are registered early and registration is cheap compared to what you can generate revenue, they will have stopped this, prevented it a lot, and don't lose time fighting court battles. Okay. Even though in the end they have damages, but they lost time. And of course, very important, all these big companies do monitor IP infringements to stop. And you may ask how to do it. You can actually engage. There are tools for you to help, but you pay for them. But you can also engage lawyers, law firms. They can do it for you for a fee. Okay? And then of course, they actually change lawyers halfway through. I think. So in the end, the lawyers that help them always get a good lawyer. Okay. So that help them win. Okay. But anyway, this one. Okay. Then there's patents. Patents are inventions. Okay. Just to take this is an example of a law. So they review the mechanism, and that's why it's no longer a trade secret. Okay. Later I'll just quickly share when do you think you need to keep it as a trade secret, or when you would have to. Patent is the preferable route, but patent has a limited lifespan, 20 years, and it usually takes 3 to 4 years to apply. So technically, you have about 15 years to enjoy the commercial life before it's open to the public. Okay, and patenting there's just three key criteria. It must be new, it must be inventive, and when you say inventive, let's say I'm an expert at making tea, but I come up with a new tea process that makes the tea. Maybe usually people take half an hour. I make it in 15 minutes. But this process, I think nobody actually talk about it. Must be somebody talk about it. Another tea expert didn't think of it. Yeah. Then you can actually meet the criteria of patent. This is very high bar. And the one industrial application, they do it again and again and again, which is usually not difficult. And that's why also one reason why surgical methods cannot be patented, because all bodies, even surgical method there will be some change, so it cannot be patented. Moving on to fast. Okay, so this just to show that patents are okay, and this applies to AI also. Whoever invented let's say somebody invented AI algorithm, the ownership, there must be a patent owner, and the owner must be an individual, cannot be a machine. So it must be a person who come up with the algorithm, or at least come up with the background of the algorithm of the AI machine, and he will be the inventor. And then, very importantly, your employees that do the patents for you, you usually will put inside your employment agreement that whatever he does in the course of work belong to the company, not him. But when you file a patent, they need to put an individual name to it, or individual name, or multiple names, multiple people responsible for developing the patent. So this is some technicalities you need to do. Okay, I won't go